Hey, welcome to Art and Bree. Today we're going to cover fire building survival tips and tricks. We're going to do the one match challenge with just natural materials. We're going to test out methods for starting a fire with 3 foods I know burn, but I don't know which one of them will burn the best. And we're also going to have tips on starting a fire in the rain. Stick around for all that. Have you ever had trouble starting a fire in the woods or in your backyard? My top tip when it comes to starting fires in the woods is to not view anything in isolation. Have total awareness and don't just think, oh, it's time to start a fire, I better gather some wood. If you need to start a fire later in the day, you need to have your eye out for the ideal materials. I'll show you some of these. I've already started as soon as I got out of my car, gathering what I know are the top materials in this environment. This is birch bark. If you're going to use birch bark, just carefully remove the loose outer bark as to not damage the trees. And then next, I'm stuffing in one pocket of my backpack these little stems from perennial herbaceous plants. This is goldenrod and a whole mix. This is just little stems that grew up last spring and then they die off every winter. Just with those 2 materials, I solved the problem of how do you get the first thing to light on fire. So you'll see in a few minutes how easy this is. Let's talk briefly about starting a fire in rain. You're gonna have to take awareness and gathering materials to a whole new level. Here's one place you can look, underneath fallen trees. But look right up under here. In just a few minutes of searching, I've found this perfectly dry bark and it's directly under the tree, and then right up under the tree in total protection, there's more bark. Don't turn anything down in a situation like this. Another place to find dry wood is inside of trees. Hollow trees can be a great place to find dry wood even when it's just storming, raining. Here's a log that we can dig out some dry wood from the lower side, so even if it was raining, if we were in a pinch, we could take our knife, go up underneath it, and just cut into that lower side and start peeling out wood. It has to be the right log, and this one would be ideal to get some nice dry wood, and then even possibly some resinous wood. All around the country you can use the inner bark of trees. It's different trees, different places. Out west you can use cedars. Here my favorite is tulip poplar. The inner bark, the only way to get it is to soak the bark or find partially rotten bark. I'm going to show you what I mean. This is tulip poplar bark. It's been rotting on this dead stick here, and if you take this and rub all the outer bark off, if you process this, rub it and work it for about 5 minutes, you're gonna have about the best fire starter that you can light with a match around here. It has to be dry. I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Look at that, it's getting hairy. You can make this into a perfect little ball for starting fires. Here's some tulip poplar bark that, this is a gold mine. This is a gold mine. When tulip poplar bark gets soaked in water for an extended time, the inner bark peels right off the outer bark. So this is inner bark. This is a treasure. There's the outer bark. Just peel off that inner bark. Now of course this is way too wet to use today, but dry it by a fire and you'll have a perfect fire starter, or you can also make amazing cord and string with this. I'll show you more of that in another video. I better rescue these salamanders. I'll put them back in that spring. Come on guys, let's go. All right, look at this. I just found this. My next tip for starting a fire in the rain is find some sort of natural shelter or set up your own tarp. All right, anything with leaves, big no-no. It's gonna be green inside and it's full of water. Even in the winter, you don't wanna be breaking stuff off living trees because, well, it hurts the trees and it's not gonna burn very well. Another no-no, don't pick up stuff off the ground. It's gonna have moisture in it. If you don't have access to a variety of sizes of materials to start your fire, and you have one nice dry piece of wood, you can make it smaller. That's the key, is you need a variety of sizes. It doesn't matter how you get them. So these would be your perfect secondary, and you might even be able to light those with a match if they were really dry. My next tip for starting a fire in a survival situation, at least, choose where you put it very carefully. You don't want to get burned by your fire. You don't want to start a wildfire. And as importantly, if you have to spend the night out by your fire, you want to get the most out of the heat. I've picked this spot right here. I have an outcropping close to my back. The smoke should go up this way mostly, and I'll be able to take advantage of the heat from the fire and some reflective heat off the rock. Okay, while I build this fire, starting with my easiest to light materials, I want to give you a challenge. The challenge is the one match challenge. Why would you focus on building fires with flints or with alternative methods if you haven't mastered the basics? So if you've mastered the basics, go learn how to use a bow drill. But until then, learn the basics of building a good fire structure. I like a teepee or a log cabin. Today we're going with a teepee. You always start with the easiest thing to light. Next, you start with the next easiest thing to light. This is all those perennial stems. Then we're gonna start with our smallest sticks and wood and twigs. And these we're going to place all over the fire. I can't tell you enough, preparation is key. This is my preparation time. This isn't time to light my fire. This is time to prep my materials. So awareness and preparation is the key to starting a great fire in the woods without a lot of effort. And it's time for the one match challenge. One match, one touch. I'm gonna walk away from this fire. I'm not gonna blow on it. I'm not gonna touch it again. So we're just gonna sit out here and watch this fire get started. This material gathering only took me 15 minutes, but this is an ideal location and it's not been raining. If it had been raining, I might spend 2 hours or the whole day gathering materials and stuffing them in a bag. When I backpack, I gather materials for the second half of the day, or if it's raining, maybe longer. Just little bits of stuff here and there if I'm gonna cook on a fire. Looking beautiful. Haven't touched it yet, and I won't need to, not at all. Now that you got a good fire like this going, you can relax a little bit with your material gathering because the fire will start drying wood as you go, so you can get stuff that's just medium wet. Even pick up something dry off the ground and start stacking it on the fire to dry. Here's my little survival spot. If I have said I have to spend the night out here, a fire is the only way to keep warm, those are decisions, but I am gonna have to gather firewood and I'm gonna spend the night right here between this rock and the fire. I'm dry. I get some reflective heat as this rock warms up. There's a lot of heat coming off the fire, and I'm protected by wind from this way and this way. So this is an ideal setup if you just have a fire and a little bit of natural shelter. Actually, this is a lot of natural shelter. You might say to yourself, why not carry an emergency blanket and use that for to reflect the heat back to you on your back with the fire. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, you wrap this blanket around you here and reflect that heat back towards yourself and stay warm all night long. Wait a second, just hold on a second. A word of caution about survival blankets. They're great tools for their weight, to keep you dry, for a night or two, to keep you warm. I'm gonna cut the corner off this one and show you my word of caution. All right, survival blanket, it's Mylar scrap, watch this. Survival blankets, although a great tool, they are flammable and they will melt to your skin. So be very cautious with them. They'll just go up in flames, melt to you, stick to you, burn you, make your situation worse. Okay, as promised, I went to a convenience store on the way out here. I have 3 food fire starters in this bag. I'm gonna reveal them one at a time. Food number 1, marshmallows. Let's try the 1 match challenge on the marshmallows. Come on, little Marshy, you can do it. Before I burn my fingers. Okay, even though marshmallows burn, I don't think I'm gonna choose them for my fire starter. Next category. Hey, guess what? It's all junk food. Pork rinds. 1 match challenge. There we go. All right, into the fire they go. Pork skins, that would be a thumbs down. Okay, the most common one you might have with you. Will they burn? Potato chips. 1 match challenge. Would you look at that? That smell is actually really good too. All right, potato chips are a clear winner. Okay, the fire's burning down. Before we stop, I'm gonna show you one more amazing fire trick you've probably never used. You can use this for cooking or for keeping your body warm. But I'm actually gonna move this fire from there to here. Okay, this is just on a small scale. Why would I do this craziness? Is because now we have a patch of dirt that is extremely hot. I'm gonna touch it. There's not coals on it anymore, it's just the soil. I can leave my hand on it for a few moments, but then I have to lift it up. So this is a great technique if you really want to stay warm. You would build your fire where you want to sleep. Burn it for a couple hours if possible. Move your fire over, wait for that soil to cool enough, and then lay down on it and sleep. We can also cook in heated soil or sand. We could dig a hole and bury something in here, put our fire back on top and cook it for a couple hours without scorching it. Okay, the last step is getting this fire completely out. The first step of getting it out is letting it burn down. I like to pile wood back on the fire in the center, and so as much of it burns to ash as possible. Okay, our fire's burned down. What we want to do is physically smash that fire without scattering coals before we put water on. If you're out in the woods backpacking or surviving or anything, you may have limited water. Today I will just use my own urine. That's what I have with me, and we're going to get this fire dead out. So you need to work on this first. Well, that's a fine smell if there ever was one. And now we're gonna re-stir that until it's completely out. And then I like to wait and make sure it's not smoking or anything. That's all steam coming off at the moment, but This spot's still steaming, but the last step is just to check your fire with your hand to make sure you got all those coals out. If you get burned, you need to stomp it and put more water on it. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is scatter out some of this ash and coal and try to restore this area so that you can't even see that it was burned in. I'm gonna put a little soil down in there. And don't do this if you haven't gotten it all the way out. You'll start a fire. Fix some leaves in, and I'll throw all these rocks I moved kind of randomly back in this area. All right, that's where we had our fire. All right guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you learned something. If you want to learn more about survival, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing some survival skills in the coming weeks and months. And I also have some live events coming up. There's a link. Well, there's information in the video description about those live events coming up next month. So check that out. All right, thanks guys, and we'll see you later. Bye.